Cold War. So, one of the personal journeys that I've had has been dealing with how to respond to situations, no matter what. No matter the situation, good or bad, it's how I react to it, how I respond to it. With Cold War, this became a reflection of that. If you're looking at the image, you notice that she's in a very sort of relaxed state, but still taking a breather, getting down on one knee, just looking ahead. But meanwhile, she's sort of in this very dark place with this very almost like fiery backdrop. And even though the backdrop is sort of this representation of almost like a chaos, it's not something that more so she's surrounded by, but something that she's dealing with more so internally. Cold War is a reflection of that, of the internal struggle that a lot of us deal with, whether we're dealing with stress, whether we're dealing with trauma, whether we're dealing with family issues or relationship issues, whatever the case may be. And this is just a reflection of how our responses should be, that even in moments of uncertainty, we still are able to carry on with our journey, with our mission. And coincidentally, the subject of this piece, her name is Njia, which is Swahili for path. And that's really a reflection of what this is about, our path, our journey. Um, I remember when we did the photo shoot for this, this wasn't a shoot that was done specifically for reference for collage. This was done years ago. And there was I think it was afternoon sun, or no, it was evening sun. I apologize about that, like late afternoon sun. And we were in her loft, and we were doing basically just utilizing the 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 sunlight coming into her loft window. And I remember taking, maybe it was about 5 frames of her just on one knee, and there was just the calmness about her look. Um, and at that time, I loved the image. Cut years later, where I'm coming up with this concept for Cold War, and I see this image of her again. And just something about it again spoke to the nature that I wanted to represent within this piece. And it just clicked. And I also wanted to give her sort of a otherworldly look to her. If you notice, her skin is not what you see with a lot of the other pieces. It's an unnatural color, I guess you would say, almost an alien type color. Even if you were to look closer into her eyes, you can tell that her eyes almost have this sort of like um almost like a trying to think of the best color, but just a blue glow to her. But it was almost sort of subconsciously but consciously creating sort of this almost like aura about her, where it's more so again a representation of the subconscious and what you're dealing with and how you go about dealing with things within your life and within your, within your psyche. So the end result was again just creating this image that would be a representation of your own personal battle. So that was the goal, and when it was all said and done, it felt good completing.